G'day guys, Brent from Outback Equipment here. Today we're joined by Coops from Outback Armour.
Great to be here.
And we're going to run through the range of suspension from Outback Armour. All right, so first we'll start off with a bit of a background on Outback Armour. You want to fill us in?
Yeah, most definitely. Our business is currently about 10-year-old, so we've just had our birthday, our anniversary. Humble beginnings in the garage underneath our owner, Richard Catlin's house. What he was looking for theoretically is suspension that would do, one, specifically armoured vehicles is where our business originally started, but then we took that technology and I guess that learning into everyday four-wheel drives, which is what you see today and what you see on Orford Adventure and also Pat Callanan's trucks.
All right, so yeah, I didn't know that it actually started out from armoured vehicles. So, 10 years on the market, so you've had plenty of time to refine the product that you're putting out on the market now?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I guess the technology and especially trying to control that amount of weight in a vehicle allows us to then, I guess, take control of, especially our vehicles nowadays are so heavy in regards to, big wheel bars, winches, etc. The big canopy backs that we have currently.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's theoretically where we, push forward into the marketplace.
Yeah, nice. All right, so we've got a pretty decent spread in front of us here of the products from Outback Armour. Do you want to run us through what we've got here right now?
Yeah, most definitely. What we start off is we have two specific ranges. So we start with our performance range, which gives you, I guess, a better quality, bigger oil reservoir than what you would normally have from OEM.
Yep.
So what we actually do, performance is pretty much a bolt in and leave. So for a customer that just wants a bit of road sort of handling and also a little bit of off-road, great product. What it actually is a nitro-charged gas shock absorber, 65mm body in most cases. And that allows you to, I guess, it stops the oil through road going and also like dirt roads to stop it from actually getting soft and cushy underneath the car. Yep. We use like the top quality oils, top quality seals, and also top quality valves, etc., stuff like that. So you're looking at then also too, this is a foamer cell steering damper, usually for your solid front axle trucks, so your Nissan Patrols, Y61s, Land Cruisers. And then we have our top of the range, which is our adjustable series. Yep. Biggest thing with that is it has an adjustable threaded seat on it, and also has on the top, if you can see, we actually have an adjuster which can actually control the rebound of the shock absorber. So it allows you to fine tune the car depending on, I guess, weight, terrain, etc., stuff like that.
So you did say earlier, use a larger reservoir. Is that for any particular reason?
Just more oil, theoretically. Yep. So what we try and do is get as much oil possible as what we can within the shock absorber, because I guess the more you have, the cooler it can stay. Yep. So the actual performance when the oil passes through the valves allows the car to be more stable and better to drive in harsh conditions.
It's to help with heat distribution. And
most
stuff
definitely,
like that. So moving on, I see we've got a few other bits and pieces here in the middle. You want to run us through those guys as well?
Yeah, most definitely. A lot of people, what they actually forget, especially with heavy loads in the back of the vehicles, you'll see this big one. It's actually a progressive bump stop. So most bump stops are just a solid piece of rubber. Yep. So if you imagine if you go through a washout, the car bottoms itself out, it has an OEM bump stop, which normally tries to protect it. The problem is that they're quite solid. Yep. So what we found, especially through military stuff, is that if you do a progressive bump stop, what it actually does is as it first strikes, it then gets harder and harder. Okay. So instead of it being a solid thud, it actually has that sort of cushioning effect. And like I said, then when the rebound that you've dialed into your adjustable series shock absorber can actually then just have the single bounce and then you're back on the road again. Okay. So you don't have that shock value of that uncontrollability.
So it's a lot safer in certain circumstances.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. We do suggest that for anyone that's sort of, carrying large weights in the rear of their vehicle. It's a must. We also do the same for the front as well. So most of the fronts are just a hard sort of piece of rubber. We actually do a progressive base in that as well. So when the vehicle lands, it's not actually landing on like a solid thud. You actually get that nice cushion effect as well.
Okay. So something like that would help with, say, like bump steer or something like that.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Sweet.
But like I said, with our military background, we sort of have that. We have that massive weight. That's actually, if you imagine going to a situation where it needs that sort of drivability, so when it hits something and lands, it actually then continues on instead of being uncontrollable and vice versa rolling over.
Sweet. Okay, so I guess keeping with the front end of a vehicle, obviously, nowadays we have different bull bars, different weights that we have on the front. So being, steel bull bars, alloy bull bars, we throw a winch in there, anything like that. Does that affect what we would have as a setup in the front end?
Shock-wise, no. Like I said, we do the two ranges. What you would actually do is then the spring rates. Okay. So normally we try and run 3 spring rates on each vehicle. We have good names for them. Trail is your standard sort of no bull bar.
Yep.
Secondary, we have an Expedition, which would be sort of a bull bar, steel bull bar to a weight of around about 50 to 100 kilos. And then we actually have our Expedition HD, which would be steel bar and winch on the front. Okay. So we compensate through 3 spring rates when they're actually loaded up, as you can see, onto the front strut.
Yep. So obviously having like a bigger spring rate would also help with ride height and wheel alignment and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, yeah, with that it does. You want to get that, you don't want to go over that maximum ride height, because then you start to get CV angle issues, driveline issues, stuff like that, vibrations. We try not to, but like I said, we try and set up the vehicle so it has the correct spring for the application.
So with lift kits and four-wheel drives, especially in the front end, I guess, would, you know, raising the height of the vehicle affect stuff like your turning circle and stuff like that?
Turning circle, it won't. The only thing, like I said, it will in regards to, I guess, like I said, your drive lane angles, stuff like that. But what we do is we go through, most of our kits are up to 50 mil. Some, like I said, with Amarocks and stuff, we go to the 35 mil. That vehicle doesn't like to go much higher, just for geometry stuff. But the thing is, it still gives you that good clearance, gives the, I guess, stability of the vehicle, gives a little bit of stance, and also, you know, gives a little bit of clearance for off-road use.
So picking up a new Triton next week, you know, I'm definitely going to be modifying it, throwing a lift kit in there. It's going to be basically stock, but, you know, I want to hit the Cape. What would you recommend in terms of suspension for that?
I guess with that one, because when you go on a trip, you usually take quite a bit of equipment. Everyone does. I've got the same thing. I've got wife and kids. So that sort of adds up a lot of weight. You seem to have double of everything.
Definitely.
My suggestion would be probably the Foamacell and the adjustable range. That way, if you've got changing with weights, fuel, etc., you can actually tune the truck to the conditions. Also, it has, with the adjustables, they have a Foamacell technology. So in that way, you've actually got that better, I guess, you know, performance value.
All right, so we've talked about the business in the front. So let's move to the party in the back. What's the go with leaf springs?
Leaf springs are technology based. What we try and do is we try and get the maximum lift that we can from the vehicle without getting any drive line problems. So it gets tail shafts. A lot of our kits, for example, the Ranger comes with a centre bearing kit, which actually allows you to lower the centre bearing down to try and get that drive line back to the angles that it wants to run at. Otherwise, you can get vibrations through the vehicle. Our spring rates, what we actually do is our spring rates are done on a constant weight load. So we do have, in some of the ranges, we have between 3 and 4 to choose from for the customer, depending on how much load. So we start again with the trail, which would be lift with no load. Then we can actually go up to usually 150 or 200 kilos, depending on the vehicle application. And then finally 300s, and then some of the big ones, 4, 5, 800 kilos. You know, because we do have like some military applications as well in those 800 kilos on that sort of side of it. What you try and do is when you're setting up a vehicle, you try and set it up with what you're going to do as a maximum load. So what the everyday sort of stuff is, whether it's a trip that you're doing constantly around Australia or vice versa, if it's just a tradie that's going down the road, we try and suggest that, you know, throw your tools in it, etc. This is how you're going to run it 90% of the time. That way you can get the spring correct. So what we normally work on is that, for example, it's a 300 kilo spring. You look at around about if you're carrying 400 kilos for a short amount of time, or you're putting on, say, your camper for that little period, like 3-4 times a year, you'll only lose around about 8 mil of depression in the spring for every 100 kilos you add to the ball weight. So it's not a lot. For that short trip, you may only lose like 16 mil of travel, like of height.
So it's not worth like overspringing the vehicle?
Oh, most definitely not. Theoretically, it'd be that hard that you wouldn't want to drive the vehicle. And also too, like I said, you're going to have driveline problems, vibrations, etc. if it's over. So yeah, like I said, all U-bolts are all, like with our kits, we supply them with, so we're a full kit. So if anything needs, for example, a Land Cruiser 79 series, comes with the handbrake cable kits, etc., ABS for the front. We don't do like pieces. So when you buy a kit from Outback Armour, you get everything that needs to for the program.
So there's no hidden
no, there's not.
hidden cost or anything like that?
No, there isn't. With our leaf springs, we use polyurethane bushes and greasable pins and shackles. All the poly bushes are built here in Australia. Like I said, as you can see, we also run slippers in each one of those just to stop noise and squeakiness. And like I said, also on the saddles as well.
I know personally from my vehicle going from like stock suspension, once it wore in a bit, it definitely gets quite squeaky.
They do.
With the spring packs.
They do, because the spring itself is actually, when it travels, it actually twists. So you're getting that twisting motion within the spring when you get like an articulated sort of area, like one wheel up, one wheel down. So it needs to be able to do that. Problem is, a lot of people put like oils and greases inside it. All it does is attract dust. When you attract dust, you correct the noise. And that's why we run the slippers inside as well.
Perfect. So you've accounted for that in the design of the product?
Yeah, most definitely. And like I said earlier that we spoke about was the bump stop. It's usually fitted where the original bump stop was.
Okay.
So like I said, if you're going through like a big whoop or something like that, or a surprising, washout on the beach, that way that actual progressive bump stop will come into effect then and try and slow, theoretically, that amount of compression on it.
Yep, no worries, and just make everything safer.
Yeah,
really.
most definitely.
Yeah. All right, so now that we've talked about the full range, the front and the rear of the vehicle, have you got anything new and exciting coming out or on the market at the moment?
Most definitely, yeah. We've got our new DSV range that we're launching here at the Brisbane show.
Yep.
So we can look into that.
Yeah, no worries, let's have a look at it.
So what I can introduce you to is our new DSV range of shock absorber. The difference being is that this is a foamer cell technology versus the nitrocharged gas. So very similar technology as what we had in our adjustable, just we don't have the adjustability. We've actually done it for the customer.
Okay.
So what it is DSV stands for digressive. So what we do is in a low speed, so for example, small corrugation, small bumps, we've actually got a particular type of valve set.
Yep.
But as you get into the longer strokes, so like forward driving, it actually changes, but it gets to a predetermined amount, so it doesn't keep going.
Okay.
What we also have in here, which is good, is an internal and external bump stop. So one for topping out, one for bottoming out as well. So we actually, which can go inside with the rear progressive bump stop we had as well. So what it does is it protects the shock absorber. You'll also see on some models, we actually have a stone guard inbuilt, and also too, we actually have cooling vanes as well built into the shock absorber.
Yep.
So this technology was built for corrugation and mining applications for a customer overseas. What we realised is those same conditions are actually in Australia. So what it allows us to do is to offer, I guess, another range within our products.
Yeah, so I guess a model like this would be for your more serious touring application.
Yeah, it would do. Even tradies with a decent amount of weight,
Yep.
so it can control a lot better. You'll also see too with the bottom differences. We have the welded bottom compared to the one-piece machine bottom as well.
Yep.
So it just gives it a lot more strength.
Yep. And I see you've still got the same silicone rubber cover here.
Yeah, still have the same. Like I said, that way it has crushability.
Yep.
So if anything comes up, wax it. Also protects the shaft as well for any damage
Yep, no
while you're
worries.
traveling in the Outback.
Yep, yep. Always got to protect that shaft. So what's it like in the Outback?
Mate, this thing is a game changer for anyone that is doing severe corrugated roads.
Nice. Thanks for coming down here today and running us through the range. I personally have learnt a lot, and I can't wait to get a set of these in my new Triton that I'm picking up. Yeah.
My pleasure, guys. Happy to be here. Next time we'll be here, we'll have some more technology for you.
No worries. If you want to grab any of this stuff, guys, available all day, every day, outbackequipment.com.au. If you've got any questions about this, hit us in the comments down below. Both myself and Coops will be in there answering any questions you have. Give us a like, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, it was more.
As a noob, I'll
That's
try
right.
and relay to you what I did understand and what I didn't
Yeah,
understand.
so it says DSV stands for digressive valving, which makes sense.
Yeah.